Hello and welcome to episode 26 of the Snowflakes podcast.
Recorded on the 27th of June for your confusion.
Why didn't we record it yesterday, fellas? Come on.
We didn't record it yesterday because we record on Mondays. Now,
Thank you.
No,
Just
the
to
illusion we
clarify.
record and upload on the same day.
no,
It's
we
just-
record on Tuesday.
Well, really,
It's
Wednesday.
Tuesday. We're recording on the 28th.
I should have done the bloody intro. That was awful. Right, the first topic this week are the two by-elections that happened last Thursday, which is 2 days after we record. I can't see the constituent, Wakefield and Tiverton and Hollington. Is that?
Yes, that's
Yes.
correct.
Hollington.
So,
Yeah, I was wrong. Tories actually did lose for once.
Yeah,
It's a
you
big
predicted they
happening.
weren't
did you
gonna,
predict
yeah.
that they would survive one of
Yeah,
them?
What did
yeah.
I predict?
I can't remember what you predicted.
I forgot.
your
And
your
I
voice is
was
just
right.
insignificant.
A massive swing
Jacob was
against the
probably right.
Conservative Party.
Probably not right.
So the corrupt Prime Minister, I call him that every week. I don't know if anyone picks up on that, but
I think everyone picks up.
Everyone
You
knows
make a
that's
big
right.
point of it.
the corrupt Prime Minister Boris Johnson's position has become even more unstable as his party suffered two by-election defeats on the same night. This was then followed by the resignation of the chairman of the Conservative Party, Oliver Dowden, who stated something along the lines of, "Somebody has to take responsibility for these poor results." There have also been rumours, reported first by the Times, that around 6 Conservative MPs are considering defecting to Labour. They haven't defected; it's just what they're considering. But if something like that happens,
It's over.
bro,
It's only for the Labour Party as well. If you're getting 6 Tories that can just fit into your ranks, what's the party become?
I think-
Sorry, this isn't going to be meant to be a
Listen.
Labour slander part, so I'm going to leave that
We're
there.
gonna.
I think there's a case now of just they're Conservatives, so they're focused primarily kind of
Staying
on
in,
themselves.
Yeah.
If there was at a general election, I would lose my seat, so I'm going to become
And
a
at this
Labour.
point, at this point,
yeah,
Labour.
They care
like,
more about
I'm
the
just-
fact that they're an MP than
I
what
think
they
even
actually stand
Labour vote, like at this point, their ideals,
Yeah,
they're
that's what
not
I mean.
going to say.
If the Labour ideals are so close to the right that they can
And
swip
for.
out.
Look, I honestly don't think that. I genuinely believe that no MP with genuine Conservative values would fit into the modern Labour Party under Keir Starmer or anybody.
yeah.
If they had actual Conservative values, they wouldn't do that. This is just a case of people
I
selecting.
presume there'll be quite some of the firmest centre One Nation Conservatives.
Yeah,
now.
I think at
imagine.
this point also Labour just wants, to lessen the Conservative majority and
Yeah,
bolster their own.
Well, I can say
votes.
that whoever these Tories are, even if they're wearing red, they won't be popular within the party. I can
Oh,
assure you
that's
that.
a good line.
It's
Now, yeah, should we look at the results with it? This
Yeah.
is not a
Let's do that.
political thing.
just a bit of a background before we go into the results for both the by-elections. Wakefield is just outside of Leeds. It's a red wall constituency. That
I actually drove past Wakefield the other day. If
Did
anyone's
you?
interested in that.
No
wonderful
one is
fact.
interested.
Thank you for that little snippet of information. Anyway, this was a seat that I think Labour had won since the Labour had always won it since about the 1930s, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was 32.
1932, thank you. And the Tories won it for the first time at the 2019 general election. However, unfortunately for the Tories, their candidate was a nonce, so he had to resign. This then sparked
Why'd
this
you have to
by-election.
say it
That's
like
a brutal. I mean, fair enough. He is a
It's all fact.
and also only got, was it 9 months?
For our many American viewers, a nonce is someone who likes kids a bit too much.
And pedophile.
Yes.
It's like Prince Andrew.
Yes.
But we don't want to get sued.
Alleged.
Allegedly.
But
This
this
one, though,
one- this
convicted,
one-
so he is a nonce.
Real nonce.
Yeah.
Only pure organic nonsense here.
This is something devious.
Oh my
we're joking
goodness.
about. Let's move on.
Anyway, I'll now read out the results of this by-election. Simon Lightwood, Labour Party, 13,166 votes, 47.9%, and a swing of plus 8.1%. Nadeem Ahmed of the Conservative Party, the guy who made the Harold Shipman Doctors Boris Johnson Partygate comparison, 8,241 votes, 30%, and a swing of minus 17.3.
Are we doing the whole thing?
Do you not want me to do the whole thing?
I mean, there's about 8 candidates.
There
so,
are.
like,
Well, there we go. That's the main two, obviously. I'll
if anyone's
also say-
interested, Liberal Democrats, 508, 1.8%.
If I can be bothered, I'll put it there.
You probably don't worry about it.
But if it's not there, then you
have
know.
Arthur's monologue.
Yes, and yes, like Joe said, Liberal Democrats came 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. With 508 votes, only 1.8%. This shows the tactical voting. I'm right.
No, I came 8th.
Isn't it 1.8%?
No, Arthur's just using normal people 0.
They did come
Where,
7th. I
where
cannot
you
count.
where you count from 0 like you meant to in every programming language other than VB for some reason.
But let's
VB
talk
is
about that turnout though of 39.5% minus
bad.
25%.
It's not unusual for a by-election for there to be a low turnout, but yeah,
You'd
know,
hope on
It's
like
it's still.
Insmatter
I
as
think it's
well.
good. I think even because of a low turnout, it still just show a snapshot of like what the view of the constituency is. No, I'm just saying in general. So it is evident. I reckon if everyone voted, we'd still get similar results.
I don't know if I fully agree, but
No,
I do
I-
get what you mean.
Well, I think I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they said that there was a case of, in both by-elections, there were just Conservative voters who were so fed up, they couldn't like, go out and vote for the Conservative Party, but at the same time, they couldn't go and bring themselves to vote for either Labour or the Liberal Democrats.
Or any
That's-
other options.
Yeah, exactly. They just would rather stay at home. I think that's perhaps, a reason for the very low turnout.
I think what we need is on the ballots. We need a none of the above option.
I believe in that.
Not for the. I mean, to be fair, if none of the above gets elected in?
Yeah,
That'd be
there's
interesting.
data
But, like,
that actually happened.
It would,
Yeah.
but it'd be really interesting if there was data of just like
No, I think
I
that's very
hate
true.
everybody.
Yeah, instead of it just coming on low turnout or just spoiled ballots.
I mean, again, this is probably my most authoritarian view, but I do think that voting should be mandatory, but there should be an option for none of the
And
above.
you also think
I
that
disagree with the
property should
mandatory
be
parts.
traded.
What, sorry? I didn't hear that.
You believe
Maybe-
that
maybe-
land should be a commodity, eh, Joe?
No, not
Maybe-
most
maybe-
land,
maybe
but
you should get
people should have
paid-
the right to own their homes.
Maybe you should get paid like £5 for voting or something.
You should get some people to vote.
Like,
Yeah.
No, don't. Okay.
The incentive is a better world.
You should nudge for
And in the
people
second
to
by-election.
vote. You should nudge them.
Oh,
is what
God.
I'm saying.
That is called libertarian paternalism.
That's the most stupid ideology I've ever heard of. You know, basically, there's two different strands of conservative ideas.
Talk
of
to the people,
conservatism.
Joe.
Sorry, explain to Corey as well. Two different ideas of conservatism: libertarianism and paternalism.
two of many ideas.
Yeah, they're the opposite thing.
Yeah, two
Paternalism
ideas.
is kind of the those above should still help those below in some certain way. Libertarianism is free for all, raw capitalism.
Oh, and also paternalism is like enforcing strict like rules on things.
Yeah.
You should call them strains of conservatism.
strains of conservatism.
Strands.
No, strains.
And I saw
'cause
it-
it's-
yeah,
'cause it's
so-
not stress either. Strains because then it sounds like it's COVID strains.
And it's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Brilliant.
Did you just call COVID?
No,
strands?
I'm saying it's
Right?
bullshit anyway. But anyway, it's a stupid ideology because it claims to like it's like the same ideology of having like socialist capitalism. Like
Yeah, the basic. I saw like the best thing they came up with was we drew lines on the roads to nudge people in the right direction.
just
you know?
tell people to drive on the right side of the road. It's easy.
You make
Okay,
that law.
No on the left side.
People
A lot
at
of
least
people
in the
won't
UK.
understand what we've just been talking about, but
Because they're driving the other side of the road. but-
another a quick point that I'd like to make about the results of the Wakefield by-election is that the Britain First candidate Ashley Simon, Britain First, if you don't know, a far-right political party who recently won their case against the electoral commission to be registered as an official political party after being, basically banned. They're not banned anymore. They've been allowed to come
Why were
back
they banned? Do you know
for fascism. That's why they were
Oh,
banned.
that's a shame.
Yeah.
Do we have laws against extremist parties in this
Mhm.
country? Well,
Yeah.
Noise.
I think we
And
have ways to prevent him. at
I
least.
see 311 votes, and that's just too much. I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
it's mad, isn't it? 1%, but 1% of this entire country.
1% is too much.
1% of come on, Corey. 1% of 60 million. I say that like I'm not a mathematician. It's
Wait,
70
60
million.
million? Wait, 60
Well,
million?
70 million.
Yeah,
wait,
70
what?
million now. It's
The population of the country.
We're now
is
trying to work
saying,
out how many far
But,
right.
Seven-
but that's not of the
7,000.
country, isn't
No,
it?
I'm just saying as an example. 1% of the country,
700,000. So that's like
700,000.
half populated Birmingham.
which is mad.
Nah,
Being
but Birmingham's
fascist.
like 2.5 mil.
Well, it depends on what you define Birmingham as.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I say it's 1.5 mil.
But
Just because
anyway,
that's
nobody
what my
cares
brain-
about the
that's what my
population of
two brain
Birmingham.
cells
This
say.
is
We're
a
now
geography
going-
podcast.
We're now going
I mean, it
to
could be if you want it to be. We could talk about. I can't be bothered.
I know migration. No, I mean, that's a politics thing. As
I
well.
think-
Okay, next by-election.
Yes, the next by-election. A bit of background for this one, the Tiverton and Honiton by-election. My friend Harry, who was recently on the
recently
on
off.
the Snowflakes, who's recently on the Snowflakes podcast, believed that this was two different by-elections. He thought there were three by-elections happening.
Just have to do it
Tiverton
like
and
that.
Honiton is the same. Harry, I'm sorry, I love you. It's just a bit funny. And now this was a constituency in Devon, and it was considered a very strong Conservative seat. They won it last time. The Port MP Neil Parish got 35,000 votes, and the next place got 11,000 votes.
The Conservatives are racking up a good member. We've got the
Bro.
nonce MP, the poor MP,
it's-
like
The one that's just got
The corrupt
accused of
tyrant.
rape.
Yeah.
What else do they need to complete the set?
I don't know, treason? I mean, they've already done that properly.
I'm just thinking, what?
Anyway,
I mean,
the results.
You can
Yeah.
play top trumps and you
The
can get like a
boss.
full set of MPs.
Who commit crimes.
Yeah.
No.
my one's crime was in the sexual nature, so that's like an extra point. Or like,
Jesus Christ.
Jacob.
Right.
Okay, the results. Yeah, basically, it was neck and neck until basically election day, and on election day, Richard Ford of the Liberal Democrat Party, 22,537 votes, 52.8%, over half, and that is a remarkable swing of 38% to the Liberal Democrats. Second place, Helen Herford of the Conservative Party, only managed 16,393 votes with 38.4%, and that is a swing of minus 21.8%.
And it's
And
also
then-
interesting how Labour's got a swing of minus 16%.
Yeah, well, and the reason for that is, of course, tactical voting.
A lot of that 38% of them. But this is, remember last week I was making a point, in the next general election, I think we're going to see the Conservative Party take massive losses.
Yeah.
I think this is what we're going to see in every constituency in the
Do you
country.
really
I
believe that in every single
Every
constituency?
single
I don't know. I don't believe that at all. Because what about the
Yeah,
diehard
well-
Tory constituencies? You know,
This
is
is
what-
a diehard
This is what
Tory
they would
constituency.
consider to be. But here's the point.
Yeah. This is a by-election.
It's
though.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a by-election.
I know, but I still
the
think
Liberal
I think
Democrats were able to focus their resources.
I still
on this.
think
I
it's gonna
the
translate.
problem is, as well, is that during general elections, there's so many Tory lies coming out from everywhere that the people who usually don't really take much.
no,
interest in
I understand your
politics.
criticism, but I just stand by it. I generally think we're going to see a swing like this in the next.
Okay, I'm writing this one down.
Yeah, write it down.
I hope you're right. I sincerely do hope you're right.
So
I
wait,
don't think
wait.
it'll be like this dramatic. I don't think it'll be minus 20 in every constituency. But
I mean,
no,
we hope.
one thing I can there's no way they're going to get a 360, 80 seat majority again. That's not going to happen. Turnout in Tiverton and Honiton, more encouraging. 42,707, 52.3%.
That's good. That's actually quite good. I'd
And
say,
for a by-election over 50%, that's not so bad. That's not so bad.
We like that. We like to hear that.
Mm.
Now, do you think it would be better? I'm asking everyone now.
Okay.
Do you think it would be better if, like, for example, in like traditional Labour constituencies like Wakefield, Liberal Democrats don't stand any candidates at all, and in these constituencies, the Conservatives are the favourites to win. Labour will never win it because the vote is just too posh for that. That Labour should stand down
Not
their
at all.
candidate.
Disagree,
Not at all,
completely
because
disagree.
people need choice. You can't just, just because they don't have a chance of winning. That's so many political parties. Like, realistically, the Greens in the current political climate have no chance of forming a government at, Westminster at national level. However, they still stand, and they're still very valid choice because they allow people to voice what they want, voice concerns, and show, what party they believe in.
You just put the final nail in the coffin of a two-party system.
Thank you.
think it's stupid.
I have killed it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I really, I think it's just a stupid idea, Arthur.
Yeah,
No.
I was asking what people's opinions were. I didn't say that's what I believe.
Do you believe that, Arthur?
No, I don't. I agree with you. I agree with you.
I'm all for an electoral coalition. That's
Yeah.
a different thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's
But
what
Labour are too proud.
Yeah, Labour are too proud for
I
an
think
electoral
that's what
coalition.
the Conservatives have. They basically came out and accused Labour and Liberal Democrats of, like, trying to deny the public of their choice. But that's actually not what they did, because they both still put up candidates. They just didn't focus any resources on campaigning in those constituencies.
Yeah,
They just
I mean,
wanted to win the
that's-
constituencies that they were favourites in.
That's
Yeah.
probably a better way of doing it. But
Yeah,
still,
no,
it
I
seems
agree.
like, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, if we should probably gain as the left wing, we should game the system as well as the right wing.
Yeah.
Oh, we need, we need more voices on this podcast. We need like a die-hard right-wing person sitting.
No, we've
the
established this
middle.
is a left-wing
We'll
podcast.
have
but
a-
we're not
maybe
here to
we'll
be
have
neutral.
maybe we'll have a guest on something.
Let's
We'll
get a
see what
really,
happens.
let's get a
And
fascist
before
guest.
before we move on, I would just like to maybe make a quick point about how the Liberal Democrats have suddenly become popular again. Following
It's the biggest joke you said all episode. Arthur.
following their 5-year stint in government with the Conservative Party, they became very unpopular among the country. Their support was wiped out in 2015. Now, I know the obviously the PR system makes it very difficult for Liberal Democrats to ever get a large number of MPs.
Not PR.
Sorry?
Not PR.
The PR system makes it... Ugh.
We don't have PR.
The first past the
unfortunately.
post system makes it very difficult for the Lib Dems to get a
The,
large number of MPs in Westminster.
Yeah.
But-
FBTP, which sounds like an internet protocol.
Yeah, but before 2015, where they lost all their support, they would still get like at least 50
which is significant.
MPs in every general election, and that
But then they fumbled the bag.
they did
By getting in
badly.
bed with the Tories.
Yeah.
How can anyone ever? I see people liking the Liberal Democrats. I don't forgive them for that. I don't forgive.
No,
them
I mean
for
they could have formed, a coalition with the Tories as much as they want, but they didn't do. They went back on the one thing they said they wouldn't do.
Free
What was it? They
education.
like tripled
Free
tuition
education, yeah,
fees.
that was
that.
the
Yeah,
other thing.
it's
like-
ridiculous.
How do you go that far behind?
That's unforgivable.
Yeah.
That's what people think. That's why they are now basically no longer a major party.
Well, look, maybe they're going to make a comeback. We'll see. But they got 23% of the vote in 2010. For context, Labour got 29. That's how close it was.
Yeah.
You know,
And I'm assuming because FBTP,
Yeah.
they got like 2 seats and Labour got 40.
Yeah.
Oh,
literally.
yeah, I forgot that.
literally. It's-
but yeah, I can, however, see the Liberal Democrats being in government again in the future. Probably more likely with Labour than the Conservatives.
yes,
Yeah.
I'd hope so.
Yeah. I can see them making a return to government, and at one stage that looked impossible.
And I hope they, if they're ever in government with Labour, they really stress for proportional representation this time.
Like they should have, but then they went for alternative vote instead. In the
To
2011
clarify,
referendum.
I do not trust them, but we'll see.
I think if
Take
anyone
that out
goes
of context,
near
please.
near the Conservative Party, they've kind of got like a collective stupidity feel.
Yeah.
So if
They're
you-
tainted by
if
the
you, if you go
Tories.
too close
Yeah.
to them, then you do stupid
It's
things.
just the
It's
problem.
like why we shouldn't have a right wing person on this podcast because they'll do stupid things.
I mean, we've got Arthur, that's close.
Wow.
I mean, you are basically the podcast Tory.
Well, no, I'm not. That's unfair. I'm more pro Labour than you, Jay Samuels.
No, you're not.
That is true, but he's blindly
Yeah.
pro-Labour.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm pro old Labour. Anyway, do you want to make your point about Boris, or should we move on?
So quickly. Despite these setbacks, Boris,
oh no.
Boris remains.
Not after the wake.
You know, because it's carried on. Boris remains defiant, stating that he will not change his character. And reports have emerged suggesting that Boris plans to hold the office of Prime Minister into the 2030s.
Sorry, is that Prime Minister? Sorry for, let's do the maths on that. About a decade or so? Looks like a dictator to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, I'm
terrifying.
really disappointed. I was really looking forward to Luigi Boris.
He wants to be Thatcher again. I didn't get the joke, so I just made a different point.
No, I think also a question up there. We need term limits. That's something we should have.
Yeah.
You know, if only we had a bit of like... Wait, no.
That's one thing that America are actually right about.
But they've only got term limits to the president, not into the Senate and Congress, which is
Yeah.
actually important.
Biden
It's
has
only,
like no
they have
power
term
in
limits so
there.
people think that they have term limits,
Yeah.
even though they don't have term limits.
Where all the real power lies within.
Yeah.
There.
Now, speaking of
Of the
America,
US.
And lack of term limits as
Yay,
well.
segue.
so go
Brilliant.
ahead, someone else.
Oh, I don't want to read this. It's
Okay.
awful.
The US Supreme Court has now officially overturned Roe versus Wade.
Can we say it together? What's wrong with them?
I didn't know what we were going to say.
You could have told what we were going to say, Corey.
But anyway,
You can tell we rehearsed that.
yeah. A draft was leaked at the beginning of May.
What?
A draft that was leaked at the beginning of May has been confirmed as true, as the Supreme Court of the United States has now officially overturned its 1973 ruling, which granted women in the United States the constitutional right to terminate pregnancy. That's
So, like, less progressive
Bad.
than 1984?
Oh,
Yeah.
They want to go back to them. In fact, polls have shown that around 70% of Americans support Roe versus Wade, meaning the Supreme Court have gone against the will of the American people. This goes against the primary function of the Supreme Court.
Which is to preserve rights and the
Preserve
view of
rights.
not
Yeah.
even the majority. I mean, yeah, that was a bad point. But but you know, we're protecting the minority of women. That's. I mean,
I don't like. We don't really need to go into the details of why abortion is. We all know why abortion is necessary, and it's just it's a very distressing topic. You know,
I
got
actually
very
wanna make a
angry
point.
when
I
I
actually want to
saw
make a point
this.
about
Go
that.
ahead.
There's so many people, rightly so, saying it's very important for things like for medical reasons, for like if they die and stuff. But
Yes!
but also if somebody just wants to get an abortion, they don't need a special reason of being about to die or like all sorts of things like that or a miscarriage. They can. It's just a right to have an abortion. If they just don't want a kid, if they got pregnant accidentally, and doesn't need to be a special reason. Obviously, it's completely valid
You
for that
don't
reason.
need to prove your worth.
Yeah,
in
it's
order to
a
have an
right.
abortion. Yeah.
that should be shared by
Yeah,
everyone.
It's literally just bodily autonomy.
Yeah, literally.
Like-
I said that wrong. Have I said that wrong?
Autonomy?
Autonomy.
That sounds like that.
Like,
If we say it too many
Yeah.
times,
Autonomy.
it will make sense.
Autonomy,
So let's
autonomy.
move on.
Also, a second
Yeah.
point, I made a point a few weeks
Autonomy,
ago
yeah.
that like it was like 80% of Americans support gun reform, which actually has passed through both the Senate and the House.
Yeah, which is
Brilliant,
that's
which I
good.
didn't expect. But like, and it's showing that again, the Republican Party and some Democrats are holding the country hostage, like for representing views that just most of the people don't have,
Yeah.
and it's the flawed system of America with these two parties.
But,
We
yeah.
probably only have to wait 10 years and then they'll die of old age.
Yeah, there'll be
Indeed.
another set of
But anyway,
oligarchs to take over.
Abortion will not immediately become legal across the whole country. It will be up to the individual states to decide. And about half of the 50 states, the Republican ones, will move to ban abortion immediately, however.
Yeah, I think about those have, and there's a few states that will be decided by the midterms coming up, which is going to be.
And look,
And the midterms aren't looking good.
They aren't looking good for the Democrats, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. Although
But this could be a big
that's what
kicker.
I saw. Yeah, I agree, because even like women who would view themselves as quite right wing, but obviously support their right to have an abortion, and they know that the Democratic Party fundamentally supports that right. Then I think that I could actually see a rise in support for the Democrats.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be enough to sway the results in the midterms. I think they're going to lose badly. But
Well, we'll see.
we'll see. November is the midterm elections.
Yeah, and we said this before on the podcast, but making abortion illegal will not stop abortion from happening. It will only make it far, far, far more dangerous for the women involved. It is important
And
to
it's
remember.
also waste police resources and
I like
everything.
Wait,
Waste
the
every
crime.
resource.
It's like 99 years if you're a doctor who perform an abortion in a state where it's
And then,
illegal. It's
like
insane.
literal
No.
murder is
Yeah.
like 9
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
Or
it
if you
is.
like house someone
You know,
willing to
yeah.
have an abortion.
And like, but just for
it's-
context, rape is like 6 years. So you could rape someone who becomes pregnant and they get an abortion in a state where it's illegal, and the doctor that gives the abortion will get more of a punishment.
When you
We'll get 93 years longer.
Yeah.
93 years
Yeah,
longer.
yeah.
Is it 6 years for rape in America?
I was
It's
taking
just,
an
you know
estimate.
what?
Like,
I mean,
It's just
it
about
depends
proving
on how
a
much
point,
money you
isn't
have.
it?
yeah.
It's just about proving a point. Like
They just want to control people and
Yeah.
show that, you know what,
I mean,
it's
I
not
don't
your
even-
body.
I mean,
I-
America went to
yeah.
war in the early
Right.
2000s on a mandate, and we can't let religious extremists control
Women,
people
yeah.
and run a
I
country.
think
This is exactly what's happening
This is
here.
the part where the United States invades the United States to save the United States from the tyranny of the United States.
Well, it's always the tyranny of the United States, but we don't ever really
the
talk
biggest
about it.
It's always
contradiction
them
of
versus
itself.
them. It's great. It's like, but yeah, it's important to remember that this is Trump's legacy. He said he would appoint pro-life judges, and so this day would come. Now we have to have a discussion on the nature of YouTube.
You don't really, these are on no.
Yeah.
I just want to make the comparison point is in the UK, the Supreme Court, doesn't have as much power and is still appointed by an independent, I don't know, council or whatever you want to call it, where the political parties and especially not the head of state/government have a say in selecting the candidates for the Supreme Court. It's a mad concept that it can be so politicised. Something, especially in a place where the judges have such power.
You just don't want all the power coming from one place, and especially in the US, where you've got all the power coming from one place, and it lasts after that person has been voted out.
And yeah, quickly before like even that discussion, this isn't going to end abortion at all. This was, you know, for a lot of most of the Republicans and the Supreme Court, this was a starting point. Like got quotes from them saying, "Oh, you know, it's now time the US reconsiders their stance on same-sex marriage."
And
Like,
also importantly as well, I mean less important than that I'd say, but still, actually you can't really put importance on this thing, but contraception and stuff like that, and also
no, they're already gunning for contraception, which
Yeah.
isn't like many women take it regularly. It's just they're stripping away rights.
It's
They
just
want to
mad.
return, literally. We said this before, return to the Dark Ages. They want
Yeah,
to take it back to the
it really
1940s.
is. Before then, even you know.
Yeah.
They just want to make a show of being able to like strip
Just,
your
yeah,
rights.
it's about power, and it just shows. I think
It's
the
about very centralised
how-
oligarchical power.
America is just a massive,
Yeah, and it's
massive contradiction.
it's
of
not
itself.
about life. You know, the pro-life. It's not about life. This whole argument. They don't care about the lives of people who die in now botched abortions because of how unsafe they've made it. They won't care about those lives.
They don't even care about their children like that.
I don't like.
Yeah.
I hate talking about this. Like we're pretending they actually have a logical consensus
Well,
argument.
they don't.
They don't. They just don't. They like controlling women. They don't like minority. They like their far right Christian ideas, which I hate saying.
I mean-
'cause I hate paying it on religion.
I-
but like
I-
it is the situation.
It is.
To be
now.
honest,
it
I
is.
can't get my head around it.
No,
Like,
yeah.
I don't understand why anyone would
It's
doesn't make
there's
any
no
sense.
there's no
It just-
logic to it. We're debating.
And it's
we're
not
very
even
cool.
there's many Republicans who don't support it as well.
Is this
That's
when we-
the most
Is this
insane
when we find
thing.
and bring a pro-life person on the podcast?
No.
It's just like...
It's not even
Absolutely.
pro-life. Like,
The-
it's anti-choice.
I think the problem-
just absolutely that's what it should be called because
Because it's not
pro-life.
pro-life. It's,
Pro-life sounds
if
like
they-
the positive option.
if they
Yeah,
came out and
yeah.
said they support welfare and child,
That's like
out-
pro-life.
education, that's. I mean, I disagree with the fundamental, which is the anti-abortion, but like they're not pro-life whatsoever. Next point, I want to see here. We've made a note saying the Supreme Court currently have a 6-3 conservative liberal split. Just the fact that you can just figure out if they're conservative or liberal or not
Well,
shows
simply
that
by
how
the fact of
political
which
they are.
president
Yeah.
appointed
Yeah,
them.
it is mad.
And there's also what 9 Supreme Court judges.
9 Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
That
that's
doesn't
correct.
work.
There's
And
not-
they-
there's
and-
14 here, for example.
It's appointed. It's a position for life. They
there's
can
50.
step down
50.
themselves, and
Yeah.
they
They're also all old.
in a country where if you're going to have a system where you have a codified constitution and the judiciary have the power to overrule the elected executive, you cannot therefore have that judiciary appointed by the elective executive. Like I cannot like a judiciary that is completely politically neutral. That's something I still don't necessarily agree with it because they shouldn't have the power to override people who are elected. But if they're politically neutral, it's at least something.
It's
But
something.
this is just political corruption because the party that's currently in power would never introduce this kind of legislation, and yet they can't really stop it because of the Supreme Court.
Also, like I made a few. We were talking about the Supreme Court here a few weeks ago, and we were talking about how in our system, the Supreme Court can only make a decision if a case is brought to them. And I argued against that idea.
The
saying
UK
it's-
Supreme Court.
Yeah, and I argued against that. I think that's really stupid. But now looking at this situation where the Supreme Court has just made a decision
Yeah.
to overturn this
Well,
right.
this would affect
I mean, again,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
half
it's,
the population.
Yeah.
it's a sort of instance of if it's not broken, don't fix it. Which
Yeah.
again, it's not like it's not something you should stand by in all cases, but it's kind of
But it's, basically, at the end of the day, it's the will of most American people. They're being held hostage by these few people.
I think on this podcast we kind of like we take the piss out of America a bit.
Yeah.
As everyone in the world usually does.
Yeah, and it's not against the American people. It's against the system and against the people who are in power. Like the
Small, very rich
99% of
minority that run the country.
American people are probably very
And
just
yeah,
like normal
Yeah.
normal
As-
humans, like everybody in the world is.
of course.
And there's just the small minorities who are often
Who are always the
vocal
loudest.
minorities.
Yeah, and they get their
Who-
voices heard,
the
and for
ones who shoot
some
you.
reason,
Yeah.
Or-
somehow get their problems up into the Supreme Court and then ban abortion for everyone. So.
As you can tell, obviously we're very angry about this, and American women will be even more angry than us. And just to end this episode, I'd just like to tell you the names of the conservative justices on the Supreme Court: John Roberts, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney
So that
Barrett.
Brett guy, I've heard of him. Didn't he like sexually assault someone?
Probably.
swear.
I mean, he's in a position.
Should we look it up now?
Trump appointed him.
Well,
So
there
I would
you
not be
go
surprised. Anyway, to those 6 people,
Yeah, but yeah.
Thank you for watching
Wait, no,
the
I just want to make a
Snowflakes
point before
podcast.
ending the podcast. 2 things. Firstly, I would like to cast a light on the British government making reforms to the Human Rights Act, which, if you don't know, is the 1998 legislation passed by Tony Blair. I'm not going to get into a big
Are
topic.
they
now,
good
actually, make a
reforms or
point.
bad reforms?
Bad reforms is the
Of
concern.
course,
They'll be
yeah.
taking away a lot of rights, and I want to raise an issue on that because while we're looking at America, a similar situation is happening here, and I beg you all to be vocal with that to your local MP and stuff like that. And secondly, we will be putting some links in the description for like some abortion charities and stuff like that. I don't know exactly what we're going to put, but go
Where
for
you can,
America
like, find...
and find some information if you need
Again,
it.
if we might get the charities wrong, do your own research and see if you can
Yeah.
find charities that are actually
Make sure it's
doing money to the right
reputable.
place.
But we're going to nudge you in the
Um,
right direction with that.
This
anyway,
issue is so important. Yeah, is that?
no, that's it. So,
Yeah, okay.
do you want to finish up?
So, those 6 people, thank you for watching this episode of the Snowflakes podcast.
Be safe, everyone.
Yeah.
And,
You can follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And
Subscribe.
we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Clear.